Remembrances and history. For a long time, Aboriginal individuals have been visiting Kings Park, which was recently alluded to as Moro Kata or Kata Garup, two of the many names for what is presently known as Mount Eliza in Kings Park. It stays a significant stately and social spot for the Indigenous individuals of Western Australia. 2 years after the settlement of the Swan River colony in 1829, the majority of the space presently assigned as Kings Park and Botanic Garden was saved for public purposes by Lieutenant Governor James Stirling and Surveyor General John Septimus Roe. In 1872, Governor Frederick Weld and Surveyor General Malcolm Fraser officially gazetted 175 hectares of the 1831 save as a public park. An extra space of land was added to the recreation centre in 1890, basically bringing it up to its present size of 406 hectares. John Forrest became Premier of Western Australia in 1890, an improvement of the recreation centre initiated in 1892. The recreation centre was fenced with doors at one or the flip side of a recently developed Perth Park Road. Various segments of the street have since been renamed Fraser Avenue, Forest Drive and Poole Avenue. Forrest named the land the Perth Park in 1895. The name was changed in 1901 to Rulers Park to check the increase of King Edward VII to the British seat. Lord's Park Memorials. John Forrest Sculpture. The John Forrest Sculpture is situated on a traffic circle at the crossing point of Lovekin and May Drives. It was revealed in August, 1928 and praises the primary Premier of Western Australia 1890–1901 and the main President of the Kings Park Board. John Forrest became Surveyor General in 1883 and authoritatively named the gazetted public region as Perth Park in 1895. In 1918, Sir John Forrest was to be made a Baron of the United Kingdom, yet he passed on in September prior to King George V officially marked the letters patent. The title of Lord Forrest was subsequently never legitimately settled, however was applied to this landmark when raised. In his time, he multiplied the size of the whole, looked for financing for the recreation centre and vigorously impacted the primary long periods of plan and arranging. State War Memorial Precinct. The State War Memorial Cenotaph is handily recognised along Perth's horizon and is one of Kings Park's most famous elements. The site was chosen on the fane of Mount Eliza in 1926. Get-togethers exchanged with the Perth City Council, Premier and different panels, with the development finished for the state centenary in 1929. The Court of Contemplation, Flame of Remembrance, Pool of Reflection and Anzac Bluff provision inside this region. The State War Memorial draws in more than 40,000 guests for the yearly Anzac Day Dawn service. 16th Battalion Memorial. The 216th Battalion Memorial is found north of the cenotaph. It praises the men of this regiment who battled in Syria, New Guinea and Borneo in World War II. It is flanked on one or the other side by a plaque for the 1st 16th set in 2003. Jewish War Memorial. The Jewish War Memorial was raised in 1920 to respect fighters of the Jewish confidence who kicked the bucket in World War I. The landmark was planned by artist Pietro Porcelli. It comprises of an Ionic section of Donnybrook stone ascending from a rock base and delegated by a globe of copper bearing the Star of David. A plaque was added in 1953 to remember the individuals who passed on in World War II. Flower Clock. An endowment from Mr. F. Whittenham, a Western Australian pastoralist, was utilised to assemble a flower cheque that was divulged in 1962. The milestone was taken out in 2011 to take into consideration scene upgrades. It has been restored 200 metres south of its past area, close to the Western Australian Botanic Garden section. The 2013 plan highlights Australian plants as the Roman numerals and a scope of Western Australian local plants around the edge and in the clock place. Pioneer Women's Memorial. The bronze model, decorative lake and wellsprings of the Pioneer Women's Memorial fill in as a focal point for the Western Australian Botanic Garden. The notable 9-foot bronze model was officially opened in January 1968, rumoured to be the biggest embraced in Australia at that point. The figure addresses a mother with a baby in her arms, venturing forward to meet her fate. It remains on a venturing stone in the lake encompassed by 5 other venturing stones and wellsprings, and is the focal point of the water garden. Fireman's Memorial. The Firefighters Memorial Grove was revealed in 2000 in memory of all Western Australian firemen who have served and given their lives in securing our networks. Improvement works were finished in 2014 and incorporated the expansion of 2 life-sized bronze sculptures by nearby craftsman John Tarry demonstrated on Western Australian firemen, one standing and the other bowing and holding the protective cap of a perished associate. Native and Torres Strait Islander Memorial. Australia's first state war dedication for Indigenous Australians remembers the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander individuals who gave their lives presenting with the Australian military and administrations in all struggles since the Boer War. A stone with remembrance plaque remains inverse seating and a divider, which incorporates rocks from territorial spaces of the state where Indigenous individuals came to serve their country. Kokoda Memorial Plaque. The Kokoda Track Memorial was set on the slant of Mountain Eliza in 2001. It celebrates all units who served on the Kokoda Track in World War II. The memorial sits toward the beginning of the Kokoda Track Memorial Walk, which is a recognition for the boldness of Australian soldiers who battled through frightful conditions and against incomprehensibly prevalent numbers in the Papua New Guinea mission of July 1942 to January 1943. Vietnam Memorial Pavilion. On 7 December 2002 a sculpture of 2 fighters from Australia and Vietnam was put before the structure. Tobruk Memorial. First devoted in 1966, this dedication is comparable in plan to the Australian Remembrance which once remained at the Tobruk War Cemetery in Libya. It praises the rodents of Tobruk who protected Tobruk during the attack by German and Italian militaries in 1941. The marble of the Tobruk nameplate came from a structure in Tobruk. A period container lies underneath the dedication. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Life is Often if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.